In this video, I want to talk a little bit about economy and insulation. On the table here, along with all my other little projects going on, you see three types of crochet squares. This is fisherman wool done with a G hook, and fisherman wool by Lion Brand squishes down a little bit, so you can use a G hook on that, and it makes a beautiful crochet square. This is Red Heart acrylic. It might be from their Super Saver skeins, but it's the color Perfect Pink. And it's really a perfect pink. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful pink. This is probably done with an H hook. As you can see, it's just a little bit more open than the fisherman wool. And I am finding that Red Heart acrylics are a little bit thicker than the average worsted weight yarn. And then these are vintage acrylics, and this is a Q hook and two strands held together, which makes it a bulky weight crochet square. Now I use these for a lot of things. I've had a video up where you can actually make these and fold them in half and make them a doll shawl or a pocket or other uses like that. But I have a new use for these, and I have the three types of squares here because you can make these all the time, and guess what you're going to be using them as? Curtains. Now, I have a kind of a large apartment that I'm still in, but I have boxes everywhere. I'm packing, and I have a cathedral ceiling. I have gas heat, and I have old windows. So the curtains that I have up now are right there, and I had put those panels up very quickly just as a privacy thing. I have new neighbors, and they are not the most polite of neighbors, and we share a backyard, and what they tend to do is come out their back door and stand right beyond my window and look in at me, which is kind of disconcerting. So I was like, okay, I have to change the curtain idea. The second thing that comes into this and why this happened is my neighbor that used to live there had beautiful curtains that I think were called cafe curtains, where you hang them about 3/4 up on the window, and then you just have a valance. So that gives you the privacy, and it allows a lot of light in. So I'm using that those ideas to make these. Right now I'm making bulky ones just because I have a lot of yarns. But eventually I plan on making 30-inch squares in G-hook fisherman squares for my curtains. I am going to use suction cup hooks. These are old, that I've used for lead window decorations. I've just ordered some new hooks, and each one of these panels is going to get a hook at each top corner, and this is going to hang on my window, on each of the windows. Like my front windows are, right now they're large. I have a center window that's about 50 inches wide. So I would need two 30-inch panels, or I can crochet accordingly to fit the window. And they're going to hang on those suction cup hooks on the window, and that's going to do two things. A lot of times when you have an apartment and you're not packing, excuse me, the possessions you have in the house kind of absorb heat. Like if you have bureaus or beds or all of that set up, they absorb and hold the heat for a while. But where I have a lot of boxes, and I'm packing things up and putting things away, I don't have that going on. So my apartment is more chilly, which is going to force me to turn the heat up, which I don't want to do. So I'm trying to accomplish several things at once here. Now this one is a little bright with the aqua and white, but I can hang it right on that window and it will look fine. Now it's not going to block out my neighbors completely. They could still see through it. So I'm going to leave the panels up the way I have them for now. But what I'm going to do when I get these finished is I'm going to back them with yellow gingham. And so the outside, people will see half panels of crocheted wool, and on the inside, I'll be looking at pretty yellow gingham. So, and I'll use one of my antique sewing machines to stitch a square of gingham to the back, and with the cup hooks, I can still hang it on the window, and I have insulated curtains. That, because I'm moving, right now my windows average 30 inches, so I'm making 30-inch squares. Housing on Cape Cod where I live, a lot of it is 100-year-old sea captains' houses where they break them up into smaller apartments. And like the house I grew up in Centerville, the upstairs windows, some of them were 16 inches wide, some of them were portholes. I mean, so you can use crochet to match any of your windows, whatever size they are. Now, they also can replace shades if you crochet them tightly enough. Now, obviously, they're not going to be light blocking shades, and people could still look in. But if you look at the arrangement I have now, people can still see my shadow the way it is now. So, but the insulation and the ease of washing, I have a leg injury. I don't really want to be climbing up all the time and taking the curtains down and washing them. This is so much easier. I just unhook them, throw them in the washer. I could even hand wash them. So simple crochet and simple crochet hooks that, I mean, I have to admit, I have hundreds of crochet hooks. But you only need, say, 3 or 4 sizes to keep with you all the time. And then you can make yourself new curtains whenever you want. I think it's a great idea, and I think if you walk around my neighborhood now, almost everybody has white shades that a lot of the foreigners keep pulled all the time. So when you are on the outside looking in, you just see these white shades, which is fine. It's clean looking. It's private looking. And as long as I don't have like orange and purple or whatever colors in the front window so that it looks trashy, I would think that, like, if I want pink